Dear learner, I welcome you all on behalf of School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Dear learner, on previous lectures we have discussed about ideal transformer. We have also discussed about the phasor diagram of the transformer, and we have also discussed equivalent circuit of the transformer. At the same time, we have discussed the different losses that occurs in the transformer and how to find the efficiency of the transformer. And under the losses category, we have discussed what is the eddy current losses, hysteresis losses. So in this today's session, we are going to discuss the voltage regulation of the transformer and concept of the auto transformer. So as first topic is voltage regulation of the transformer. So what do you mean by this voltage regulation? So voltage regulation, as name is indicating, that means there is some regulation. Means what? If you keep the primary voltage constant and load is changed from no load to full load, and what is the effect on the terminal voltage on secondary voltage, that will be called voltage regulation. That means change in terminal voltage from no load to full load is called basically voltage regulation. Then we will discuss the auto transformer. So auto transformer basically work on the principle of the normal transformer, or you can say two binding transformer. The difference is only that in auto transformer, both the binding, that is primary binding and secondary binding, are not electrically separated. So we will discuss about the auto transformer, then we will discuss how much the copper saving can be done in auto transformer, then what is the advantage, disadvantage, and what are the different applications of the auto transformer. So first of all, we are going to discuss voltage regulation. So as you know, under no load condition, the voltage at secondary terminal is E2. What do you mean by this? That means at no load, the I2 current is 0. If I2 current is 0, what is the meaning of this? That means there is no voltage drop across secondary binding. There is no voltage drop due to this resistance and inductive reactance in the binding. And at the same time, because load is 0, if load is 0, that means whatever current is flowing in the primary side, that is a no load current. If it is a no load current, that means whatever the voltage drop will be there due to this resistance and inductive reactance, this will also be very less, or you can say this voltage can be neglected. So you can say that this E1 voltage is near about is equal to V1. Or you can say, if you want to calculate this voltage E2, so this voltage E2 is equal to what? It is near about V1 multiplied by N2 upon N1. And what is the relation between this V1 and E1? Because there is a very less drop in this primary binding, that means this V1 is near about equal to V1. Or you can say the voltage induced in the secondary side, it is equal to this applied voltage multiplied by transformation ratio, that is K, or K is denoted by this N2 upon N1. So in quantitative terms, you can say the change in terminal voltage is called voltage regulation. Now we have to understand what is the definition of the voltage regulation. So at constant supply voltage, that means whatever the voltage you are giving at the primary side, you have to keep this voltage constant. The change in secondary terminal voltage from no load. No load means there is no load is connected at the secondary side, neither a resistive load, nor RL load, nor RC load, to full load with respect to no load voltage is called voltage regulation of the transformer. Or in another word, you can say, let you assume that E2 is the secondary terminal voltage at no load and V2 is the secondary terminal voltage at full load. So if you want to express the voltage regulation or your percentage voltage regulation, so it can be written as E2 minus V2 upon E2 multiplied by 100. So this E2 is what? This E2 is a secondary terminal voltage at no load, and this V2 is a secondary terminal at full load. So voltage regulation is what? At constant supply voltage, the change in secondary terminal voltage from no load to full load with respect to no load voltage is called voltage regulation of the transformer. So accordingly, what should be the voltage regulation for the ideal condition? For the ideal condition, this voltage regulation should be 0. What is the meaning of this? That means suppose you are connecting any load at the secondary side of the transformer. So if this load is changing means suppose just we can take one example of your home load, like suppose at your home there is no load. That means you have not connected any AC, mixer, fridge, TV. So this will be called as a no load, right? So at that time there will be some voltage at the secondary side. You can say that is a 230 voltage. Now suppose you are connecting some load at the secondary side. Two ACs are connected. You can say like you are connecting two number of 2 ton AC. So it is nearly about 4 kilowatt you are connecting the load. So if you are connecting the load, there should not be change in the secondary terminal voltage. That means this voltage, it should be nearly about 230 voltage. If this voltage is changing, like now suppose this voltage is coming 210 volt. So there is a from 230 to 210 volt. So there is a difference in the voltage. So you can say there is a fluctuation in the voltage. If fluctuation in the voltage is there, so whatever the home appliances you are using, these appliances may be damaged. So for the ideal condition, this voltage regulation should be 0. That means if you are connecting any load, there should be no effect on the secondary terminal voltage of the transformer. Now just we are going to explain this voltage regulation when we are considering some load, and that load is of inductive of nature, or you can say this load is a RL load. So when transformer is loaded, there are a voltage drop across resistance and inductance, hence no voltage E2 is given by. Now you can say that means this E2 is a induced EMF at the secondary side, and this B2 is a voltage receiving at terminal, or you can say this B2 is a load across load. So what is happening? Because there is a resistance, inductive reactance, and now here we are assuming that all the resistance of the binding and inductive reactance of the binding is transferred to the secondary side. So just it is denoted by R2E. So R2 is nothing but it is a resistance referred to the secondary side. So this E2 is equal to what? This applied terminal voltage plus voltage drop across resistance of the binding and voltage drop across the inductive reactance of the binding. So you can say E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2E plus I2 X2E. Now again this can be understood by this phasor diagram. So just you assume that this OA is a voltage applied V2. So for lagging power factor load, this I2 current is what? That means you can say this is a load current at the secondary side. So this I2 current lags with the this terminal voltage V2 by some angle, that phi 2, and this phi depends on this load RL load. What is the value of this resistance? What is the value of this inductance of that particular load? On that this phi 2 will be depend. So if you are drawing this phasor diagram, so take this V2 as a reference, and this I2 is lagging with angle phi 2. So there will be some voltage drop across the armature, across the resistance of the binding, and what is that drop? That is I2 into R2E. So as you know, the voltage drop across the resistance of the binding, it will always be in the same phase of the current. So what is the phase of this current? I2. So you can say this AB is representing the voltage drop across this resistance of the binding, which is referred to the secondary side. So this AB is representing I2 into R2E, right? Now again there is some voltage drop due to this inductive reactance, which is referred to the secondary side. So this voltage will be you can say it will be perpendicular to this AB, or you can say this angle will be the 90 degree. So this BC is representing the voltage drop across this I2 into X2E. So this OA is V2 as we have already discussed. Now because you have this component, you have this component, you have this component, right? So accordingly you can find the different component, like suppose you want to calculate what is the value of this component AF. So AF can be written as AB cos phi 2, horizontal component of this particular component AB. So AF is equal to AB cos phi 2. And what is the value of this AB? Value of this AB is I2 into R2E. So this AF is what? This AF is nothing but it is I2 into R2E cos phi 2. Now here you can notice that this FD, so this FD is parallel to this BC, right? So this this FB is equal to DE, or you can say, so this is a vertical component of this particular component. So FB is equal to what? AB sin phi 2. That means this FB is equal to DE. So FB is equal to DE, which is equal to AB sin phi 2, and value of AB is what? That is I2 R2E. So you can say FB is equal to DE is equal to I2 R2E sin phi 2. Similarly, you can find out this BE and FD. So this BE is equal to FD is equal to this BC sin phi 2. And what is the value of this BC? This BC is nothing but it is a voltage drop across inductive reactance of the binding, which is referred to the secondary side. So value of this BC is what? The value of this BC is I2 into X2E. So you can say that BE is equal to FD is equal to BC sin phi 2 is equal to I2 X2E sin phi 2. Now we have to find out this component CE. So CE is what? CE is basically the horizontal component of this BC. So CE can be written as BC cos phi 2, and you have a value of value of BC is what? That is I2 into X2E. So CE can be written as I2 X2E cos phi. So now you are able to find out this component, this component, this component, this component, right? So now here you can see that this, what is the value of this OD from this point to this point. So it can be written as OD is equal to what? This OA plus AF plus FD, right? So you have a value of all these component. Value of this component is what? That is a V2, that is a terminal voltage of the transformer at the secondary side. And what is the value of this AF? Value of AF is nothing but it is resistive drop occurs at the secondary side, which is all resistance are referred to the secondary side. That is I2 R2E cos phi 2. Now third term is what? That is a FD, and value of FD is what? I2 X2E sin phi 2. So now you are interested to calculate what is the value of this CD. You have calculated this component because we are interested to calculate this component, right? So this component is equal to what? Just you apply the Pythagoras theorem. That means OC square is equal to OD square plus DC square. So this component we have already calculated. Now we are trying to calculate what is the value of this CD, and you have already a value of this CE. So CD can be written as CE minus DE, right? So CD is equal to what? CE minus DE. And what is the value of CE? Value of CE is I2 R2E cos phi 2. And what is the value of this DE? Value of this DE I2 X2E sin phi 2. So basically this value is it is equivalent to 0, or you can say it is very less. So this value can be neglected. So as I told you that this OC square is equal to what? OD square plus DC square. Now we are assuming that this component of CD is very less. So just we are for the simplification we are assuming that this value of CD is 0. So you can say OC square is equal to what? That is OD square. So now you take the under root from both the side, left hand side and right hand side. So you can say OC is equal to OD. And what is the value of this OC? Value of this OC is equal to what? Here this is a E2. And value of this OD is what? OD is what? OA plus AF plus FD, which you have already calculated, that is B2 plus I2 R2E cos phi 2 plus I2 X2 sin phi 2. So you have got this final expression, right? And as you know, because we are interested to calculate the voltage regulation. So voltage regulation is what? Change in terminal voltage from no load to full load is called voltage regulation. So just you have to find out this E2 minus V2. So just you take this term on the left hand side. So you can say this approximate voltage drop is equal to E2 minus V2, which is equal to I2 R2E cos phi 2 plus I2 X2E sin phi 2, right? Now, because we are assuming that angle is a phi 2 which is connected between the secondary terminal voltage V2 and secondary current I2. So this phi 2 is basically representing the phase angle between the voltage and current. So in a case of transformer, we assume that power factor on both the side, that is primary side and secondary side, are the same. That means of course this phase angle will also be the same. So just for the simplification, we are assuming that this phi 2 as a phi. So as you know, what is the formula of voltage regulation? Change in terminal voltage from no load to full load upon no load. So this E2 minus V2. So E2 minus V2 is what? This one, I2 R2 cos phi plus I2 X2 sin phi upon V2. So this is a voltage regulation. This plus sign applies the lagging power factor, and this minus sign here will apply to the leading power factor. Leading power factor means if you are considering load as a RC load, that means which have some capacitive component, or you can say if you are applying load like a synchronous motor, that is also work as a capacitive load type load. So if you are writing this E2 minus B2 multiplied by 100, so you can divide this total component in two components. So you can write I2 R2E cos phi upon B2 into 100. Similarly, this component can be written as I2 X2E upon V2 into 100 into sin phi. So here just you notice, this one is what? This is a percentage voltage regulation, E2 minus B2 upon B2 into 100. And this I2 R2E upon B2 is what? This is a percentage resistive drop multiplied by cos phi. So this whole term is called basically percentage resistive drop, and this whole term is called percentage reactive drop multiplied by sin phi. So as I already told you that for the ideal condition, or you can say there's ideally voltage regulation should be 0. That means when you are changing the load either on the industry side or your for the domestic side, so when you are changing the load, that there should not be fluctuation on the voltage. This fluctuation in the voltage is basically a voltage regulation. So for ideally what we are expecting, that this fluctuation should be less, or ideally we can say this fluctuation should be 0. So you can say ideally voltage regulation for the transformer should be 0, which is practically not possible. So as load current increases, the voltage drop tends to increase, and this V2 drops more and more. So here we can conclude that for lagging power factor, if this E2 is greater than V2, then it is a positive regulation. And for leading power factor, this V2 is greater than E2, in that case there is a negative regulation. Now we are interested to calculate what is the condition for the zero voltage regulation. So you have a formula for the voltage regulation, that is E2 minus V2 upon 100, right? So zero regulation means what? This value should be 0, just put here 0. So V2 into 0 is equal to 0. So you can say I2 R2E cos phi plus I2 X2E sin phi is equal to 0. Or you can say this term I2 R2E cos phi is equal to minus I2 X2E sin phi. So this I2 terms will be cancelled out. You can say R2E cos phi is equal to minus x2 is sin phi. So this sin phi upon cos phi is what? That is a tan phi. So this tan phi can be written as minus R2e upon x2e, where R2e is the resistance referred to the secondary side and x2 is all the inductive reactance are referred to the secondary side. So this is a condition for the zero voltage regulation. Now next topic that we are going to discuss, that is a auto transformer. So all of you must have observed this auto transformer in any electrical engineering lab. If you are a first year engineering student or diploma engineering student, so if you are going to conduct any practical, so these instruments are widely used. That is called auto transformer. So what is the auto transformer? An auto transformer is a special type of transformer in which part of winding is common to both primary and secondary winding, unlike two winding transformer. In case of a normal transformer, or you can say two winding transformer, both the winding are electrically separated. But in case of auto transformer, some portion of the winding of the transformer is common, right? An auto transformer has only one winding bound on a laminated magnetic core. With the help of auto transformer, the voltage can be stepped up or it can be stepped down at any desired value. The principle of operation of the auto transformer is the same as that of two winding transformer. Basically, it works on the principle of the Faraday law. That means whenever there will be rate of change of flux, it will induce EMF. So you are applying the this AC supply across the winding. So this AC supply is in basically changing from 0 to maximum, then maximum to 0, then 0 to negative maximum. That means this flux is changing. Now as this flux comes under the contact of the winding, so there will be rate of change of flux and accordingly induced EMF will be induced. How this transformer work and what is the principle of the transformer, which has already been discussed. So here I am not going in the detail how the transformer work. Here we are going to discuss construction and working of the transformer and what are the advantages of the auto transformer and what are the applications of the auto transformer. So if you are neglecting all the losses means you have to neglect this eddy current losses, hysteresis losses, leakage reactance and magnetization current. The transformation ratio can be written as B2 upon B1, where B2 is what? B2 is the voltage at the secondary side. Here you can see this is a B2 voltage which is connected across the load and this B1 is a supplied voltage. So transformation ratio is what? K is equal to V2 upon V1, or you can say I1 upon I2, or you can say N2 upon N1. So here you can see in this particular circuit diagram, in case of auto transformer, there is only one winding. This winding is the AB, and this out of AB, this CB is working as a secondary of the transformer, but primary of the transformer is AB. That means this CB is common in the primary winding as well as in secondary winding. And here you can see also the photograph of the auto transformer. Here this is like when you rotate the top part of the auto transformer, or you can say regulator of the transformer. So this part is basically moves and this connects this winding. Like suppose you are rotating as a regulator, so this point will be moved here and there. If you are moving, suppose you are moving like this, so this point may come here. So what will be the number of turn on the secondary? It can be this C will come here. So this of course the number of turn at the secondary side will reduce. If we want to increase, that means if you rotating this regulator of auto transformer on the anti-clockwise, so this C term this C may come here also. So accordingly you can change the number of turns and the secondary side, and accordingly you can change the voltage at the load side, right? So because here is a total number of turn is what? That is a N1, and voltage produced across this winding is V1. So if you are interested to calculate the voltage per turn, so total voltage across this coil AB is what? That is a N1, and so voltage per turn is equal to what? That is V1 divided by number of turn N1. Now if you are interested to calculate the voltage drop across BC, so let you are assuming that number of turn this in CB is N2. So you have a voltage per turn, that is V1 upon N1. So voltage across this turn, number of turn N2 is equal to what? V1 upon N1 multiplied by N2. Now here you can say this input power is equal to what? Output power. And what is the input power? Input power is nothing but it is a product of voltage and current and power factor. So input side, what is the voltage? That is V1, and current is what? I1. So it is V1 I1 cos phi 1, and output side, what is the voltage? This is voltage V2 and this current is I2. So output power is what? V2 I2 cos phi 2. Now if internal or you can say leakage impedance drops and losses are neglected, then you can say that cos phi 1 is equal to cos phi 2. Then in that case you can say the input power, or you can say KVA at input side is equal to KVA outside. So you can write this V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2, or you can write V2 upon V1 is equal to I1 upon I2 is equal to K, where K is what? K is the transformation ratio. So here you can see this K is less than unity. If this K is less than unity, so what is the meaning of this? That means this auto transformer is working as a step down transformer. So for the working of the transformer here, because if this switch S is open, that means this is a open, or you can say there is a no load is connected at the secondary side. So now you switch S is closed, just you connect the switch, so this current I2 will start to flow. So current in binding BC is equal to what? Total current is I1, this current is I2. So what is the value of this current? That is I2 minus I1. So as switch is closed, the current in binding BC must flow from B to C in order to create an MMF opposing to the exciting or working MF as per Lenz law. In binding AB, I1 flows from A to B, but in case of BC, current that is I2 minus I1 flows from B to C. The current in binding BC is I1 from C to B, and I2 is from B, you can say this I2 is flowing from B to C, and current flowing through this BC only, that is the I2 minus I1. So here current I2 is greater than I1. Why? Because this is a step down transformer. That means this voltage is less than this voltage, and as you know, the power is a constant in the transformer. That means you cannot change the power at the primary side and the secondary side. So power at primary side is equal to the power at secondary side. Now because this B2 is reduced due to the step down transformer, so of course what is the value of current? I2. So as B2 will decrease, this I2 will increase. So MMF are opposing each other at every instant. So you can say this IBC is equal to I2 minus I1, which has already been discussed. So MMF of binding AC is equal to what? MMF is equal to what? Number of turn multiplied by the current flowing through that particular circuit. So here we are interested to calculate the MMF in AC. So current is what? That is the I1, and number of turn in AC is equal to what? Because total number of turn is N1, and here number of turn is N2. So remaining turn R is what? That is N1 minus N2. So you can say MMF of AC is equal to I1 multiplied by N1 minus N2, which is equal to I1 N1 minus I1 N2. Now this I2 N2 minus I1 N2 is equal to I2 minus N1 is equal to N2, because this I1 N1 is equal to what? I2 into N2. So this I2 minus I1 is what? This is a basically current flowing through from B to C. So you can say this is a IBC multiplied by N2. That means this IBC into N2 is what? It is a MMF at the binding BC or CV. So power transformed in BA is what? What is the power transforming? Power transformed is BAC. That means this from A to C multiplied by IAC, and BAC is what? This voltage is V1, this voltage is V2, so this voltage is V1 minus V2, and current IAC is what? This current is I1. So power transformed in VA is equal to V1 minus V2 multiplied by I1. So total power to be transformed or input power in VA can be written as this voltage V1 multiplied by current I1. So power transformed in VA is equal to VAC into IAC, which is equal to V1 minus V2 into I1. So input power is what in case of this auto transformer? Input power is what? Applied voltage V1 and current flowing, that is I1. So input power in terms of VA, or you can say volt ampere, it is equal to primary voltage V1 multiplied by primary current I1. Now we can write this power transformed VA upon input power VA. So power transformed in VA is what? This is V1 minus V2 multiplied by I1. Input power VA is what? That is V1 into I1. So this I1 is cancelled out, or you can write V1 minus V2 upon V1. Again you can write V1 upon V1 is equal to what? 1, and V2 upon V1 is K. So this power ratio of power transform in VA to the input power in VA is equal to 1 minus K. So you can write power transform is equal to 1 minus K times to the input power. And here you can notice, because we are discussing about the step down transformer, so this value of K is less than 1. So of course this value is less than 1, so this value is decreasing. That means power transform is less than, so power transform from this you can say AB is equal to the 1 minus K times the input power. So power conducted in VA, because this power is transforming from primary to the secondary side in two ways. One is a power transformed and another is a power conducted. So this power transformed is a 1 minus K times input power, and power conducted in VA is equal to total power input in VA minus power transformed in VA. So after the solving, you can write this power conducted in VA is equal to transformation ratio multiplied by the input power in VA, and this power transformed in VA upon input power in VA is equal to 1 minus K, and power conducted in VA upon input power in VA is equal to K. So if you are interested to calculate the transformation ratio, so this K can be written as K is equal to N2 upon N1, or it can be written as V2 upon V1, or it can be written as I1 upon I2. Sometimes like this data is given, this power conducted in auto transformer is this one, and input power in VA is this one. And just find out the value of the transformation ratio. So by this formula you can also calculate the value of this transformation ratio, that is power conducted in VA upon input power in VA. So here you can notice that power ratio of power transformed in VA upon input power in VA is equal to what? V1 minus V2 upon V1. So this power transformed in VA can be written as inductively transformed power, and this can be written as input power is basically total power. So this V1 is because it is a step down transformer, so of course V1 is a high voltage and V2 is a low voltage, so it can be written as high voltage minus low voltage upon high voltage. So in ratio of inductively transferred power to the total power is equal to high voltage minus low voltage upon high voltage. Now we are going to discuss the copper saving on the auto transformer, because if you are comparing the same rating of the transformer of two winding transformer and auto transformer, so you can save the some copper, copper in case of the auto transformer. That means if you are able to save the copper of the copper in transformer, that means the cost of the conductor is less. So of course this transformer will be, cost of transformer will also be less. So now we are interested how much copper saving can be done in case of auto transformer if you are comparing with two winding transformer. So as you know, the cross section of the winding is basically depends on the current flowing through that winding, and total length of the conductor is directly proportional to the number of turns of the winding. Or you can say that copper saving, or you can say weight of the copper is directly proportional to the number of turn in the transformer and current flowing through transformer. So because you are comparing this auto transformer with the two winding transformer, so that means what do you need to calculate? You are supposed to calculate the total weight of the copper in case of two winding transformer. At the same time, we must know how to calculate the copper in case of auto transformer. So weight of the copper of binding 1, because it has two binding, primary binding and secondary binding. So it can be written as, it is actually proportional to N1 into I1, and weight of the copper in binding 2, or you can say secondary side, so it is actually proportional to N2 into I2. So what is the total weight of the conductor? Just you add this one plus this one. So total weight of the copper can be written as N1 I1 plus N2 I2. Similarly, in case of auto transformer, in case of the primary side, or you can, that primary is basically what? This is AB. So here number of turn is what? Here number of turn is basically weight of copper in section AB is directly proportional to N1 minus N2 into I1, and weight of the copper section BC is N2 multiplied by I2 minus I1. Just you add this and you solve it. So weight of the copper in auto transformer to the weight of copper in two winding transformer can be written by this formula, that is N1 minus N2 multiplied by I1 plus N2 I2 minus I1 upon weight of the copper in two winding transformer, that is N1 I1 plus N2 I2. So after simplification you can write this weight of the copper in auto transformer to the weight of copper in two winding transformer can be written as 1 minus K, where K is what? This K is nothing but it is a transformation ratio, and this K is what? This is K is N2 upon N1, or you can say I1 upon I2, or you can say V2 upon V1. So because it is a step up down transformer, so value of this K is less than 1. So we are able to find out the formula for the saving in the copper is equal to what? Transformation ratio multiplied by the weight of the copper in two winding transformer in case of step down, and in case of step up the saving in copper is 1 upon K times weight of the copper in two winding transformer. So this is how you can calculate how much copper can be saved in case of the auto transformer. Now we have to understand what are the advantages of the auto transformer. So because we are comparing, that means advantage means we are comparing this auto transformer with the two winding transformer. So first advantage that we have derived, or we have concluded that most advantages of auto transformer is, that means you can save the copper. So of course in case of auto transformer copper required is very less. You are comparing the two transformer for the same kVA, then you can compare the these two transformer, and efficiency is higher because copper conductor is less. So that means the conductor is less, or you can say length of the conductor is less. So of course if length of the conductor is less, so whatever the losses, that is resistive losses are occurring, that losses will be less. That loss is what? I square R, because length of the conductor is less, that means resistance of the conductor is less. If length of the conductor is less, that means this I square R is less. If losses are less, that means of course efficiency is more, right? Similarly, the size and hence cost is less as compared to the two winding transformer. the voltage regulation is superior than two winding transformer due to the less resistance and leakage reactance. Because voltage regulation is what? Change in terminal voltage from no load to full load. And why this voltage, there is a change in voltage? Because as current is increased, so due to increase in the current, there is a voltage drop in winding of the transformer. That is due to the resistance and inductive reactance. So in case of transformer, you are able to reduce the resistance of the winding, inductive reactance of the winding. That means you are able to reduce the voltage drop across the resistance of the winding and inductive reactance of the winding. So voltage drop is less. That means whatever the voltage you are getting at the secondary side, that is more. That means if you are changing load from no load to full load, there is a very less difference in voltage from no load to full load. That means voltage regulation is very good, or you can say voltage regulations is good in comparison to the two winding transformer in case of auto transformer. Now, because every device has some limitations also, so now we are going to discuss what are the limitations of the auto transformer. Because in case of two winding transformer, both the winding are electrically insulated, but in case of auto transformer, it is not like that. So there is no electrical separation between primary and secondary winding, which is risky in case of high voltage level. Second limitation of auto transformer is what? If a section of winding common to primary and secondary is opened, so full primary voltage appear across the secondary, which is very dangerous. Now we are going to discuss what are the applications of the auto transformer. So application of the transformer can be understood as when you want to operate induction motor and synchronous motor, so at the time of starting, the auto transformer is needed. So for starting rotating machines like induction motor and synchronous motor, auto transformer can be used because you have to change the voltage. Or if you want to control the speed of this induction motor or synchronous motor, that means you can control the voltage. So it is working like a regulator basically, just like in your home you are using a ceiling fan, so just you regulate that regulator. So it is just like that auto transformer. So you are just regulating the switch, that means you are changing the voltage. If you are changing the voltage, that means you can control the speed of that particular motor. Second application of auto transformer is for interconnecting system which are operating roughly at the same voltage. Auto transformer can be used as a furnace transformer for getting required supply voltage. Another application of auto transformer is as a variac, or that means you can just vary the voltage to load smoothly from 0 to rated voltage used for dimming the light in cinema halls. Just you can use the auto transformer. So you must have observed when you are going in any cinema hall, as movie starts, so light all of a sudden it cannot switch off the light, it just gets dim. So that means if you are able to control the voltage, then that means you can control that light also. So with the help of the auto transformer, just you are able to reduce the level of the voltage. So these are the applications of the auto transformer. So dear learner, in this particular session we have discussed voltage regulation of the transformer in detail. What is the importance of the voltage regulation? What is the significance of the voltage regulation? That means for the ideal condition, this voltage regulation should be 0. That means voltage regulation is what? If you are keeping the primary voltage constant, so change in voltage from no load to full load is called voltage regulation. And then we have discussed the construction and working of the auto transformer. We have discussed what are the advantage, disadvantage, and what are the applications of the auto transformer. Dear learner, just I would like to inform you that here I am going to offer one course through the MOOC, that is a Principle of Electrical Science, and this particular course of Principle of Electrical Science is mainly for the undergraduate first year engineering student or diploma engineering student from all branch of engineering. The content of the course covers almost all the topics of basic electrical engineering, ranging from DC and AC circuit to electrical machines and transformer. In addition to this, low voltage electrical installation and elementary calculation for energy consumptions have also been covered so as to prepare the student for in-depth study. In this course, easy explanation of the topic, plenty of examples and illustrations are also discussed. This course, Principle of Electrical Science, will work as a positive catalyst to boost high quality knowledge in the field of electrical engineering. So if anyone is interested to know about the basic of the electrical engineering, can join this course, Principle of Electrical Science. The required qualification to join this course is just 12th pass. If you have a knowledge of physics of class 12, then you are able to understand all the electrical machines. You can very simply you can understand how the DC motor work, how induction motor work, how the single phase induction motor. That single phase induction motor is nothing but like whatever the ceiling fan that you use in your home. What is the principle and how does it work? You can understand. Simply that single phase induction motor are used in your mixer. So my advice is, if you are interested to know the basic of electrical engineering, how motor work, how this induction motor work, just you join this course of Principle of Electrical Science. And for joining this course, just you have to go through the SWAYAM portal. Just you type in your computer http swayam.gov.in, then you are able to find the logo of the IGNOU. Just click the logo of the IGNOU, then you will be able to find the different courses. You search the course that is the Principle of Electrical Sciences, and just you click here, you can automatically join this course. This course has already been offered since 15 July 2020. If you are still interested, you can join this course because the enrollment of this course is going to be closed on 31st August. So just you have more 7 to 8 days, so you can join this course. Thank you very much.